All right, I'd like to call the October 14th, 2021 meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission to order. The following notice is required to be read. I will do so now. Pursuant to Governor Baker's June 15th, 2021 lifting of the state of emergency and following the passing of Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, which allows remote meetings of public bodies until April 1st, 2022. This meeting of the Town of Burlington's Conservation Commission is being conducted through remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings as provided for in this order. A reminder that persons who would like to listen to or view this meeting while in progress may do so by turning into the BCAT Government Cable Access Channel or the BCAT Government Meetings Facebook Live feed, or you can join the meeting over the phone at 408-418-9388, and it is meeting number 179-747-7321. There's a password on the material on the screen if you need it, but you may not need it. New public hearings open tonight will not be closed so as to allow comments from those who are unable to access or uncomfortable with the technology. Comments and concerns regarding public hearings should be emailed to conservation@burlington.org before our next meeting, which occurs on October 28th, 2021. So, next on the agenda, well, first I'd like to say that let's talk about the agenda for a moment. We have some postponements. Items 7, 8, and 9, which are 3 public hearings. The first one is Redmond Street roadway. The second one is 4 Redmond Street. And the third one is 5 Redmond Street, have been continued until October 28th. Could I have a motion from the commission to continue those 3 hearings until October 28th meeting?
So moved, Gail.
Second, Bill.
All right, so Gail, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And I don't see anyone else, and myself, I vote yes by a vote of 4-0-0. The Redmond Street roadway, number 4 Redmond Street and number 5 Redmond Street are officially continued until the October 28th meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission. Okay, so
Mr. Chairman,
yes,
you did not do the roll call for attendance.
yes. Okay, let's do that. Thank you.
But
Indra,
before that, you we all voted.
yes. All right, well, let's do the roll call now. You must have had a cup of coffee. You're on top of this, Indra. Okay, so let's do the roll call. John Bernstein, he is absent. Gail? Gail Lima? Say present or here. Can't hear you.
I'm here.
Thank you. Indra?
I'm here.
All right. Bill Boyven.
Here.
Jennifer O'Riordan should be recorded as absent. Ed LaTurco, I believe he is absent at the moment, so he'll be recorded as absent. And our Associate Commissioner, Kent Moffett, I do not believe, Kent, are you here? Can't hear you.
I'm here.
All right. Our Administrator, John Keeley,
Present.
and our Assistant Administrator, Eileen Coleman.
I'm here.
And Larry Cohen, the chair, is here as well. All right, Indra, thank you. Keep me on top of the game here.
No problem.
All right. Okay, now, all votes in this meeting will be by roll call. I'll call each person individually to record their vote. The meeting is being recorded. All right. So next on the agenda is citizens' time. Is there anyone here online who would like to talk about something that is not on the agenda for tonight? All right, I'll record that as no one's here for citizens' time. The approval of minutes, my understanding is that minutes of September 23rd, 2021 are not ready yet. So we will skip over that and deal with it at the next meeting. The next item on the agenda is item 4A. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting, during which time we will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Mayor Solomon. The commission will take all information related to the proposed construction of a residential addition within a locally regulated riverfront area in the 100-foot buffer zone to streamback and bordering vegetative wetlands. The property is located at 34 Freeport Drive. The commission will thereafter issue a determination of applicability. The application is being heard pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the state's Wetland Protection Act, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. To obtain a copy of the application, you can email conservation@burlington.org. Okay, so is there somebody here for 34 Freeport Drive?
Yes, I'm here, present.
Hi, would you, why don't you introduce yourself,
Yes.
state your address, and then why don't you're welcome to say a few words, as much as you would like, and a summary of what you'd like to do.
Thank you very much. My name is Mayor Solomon. I am the resident of 34 Freeport Drive in Burlington. I live in the town for like almost, I would say, 13 years now. And it's a lovely area, and I like my neighborhood and my town too much. So I would like to do like a little addition on the back of my house. This addition will be like a dining room and attach it to a deck with a little bit of extension going to the pool. I have an above ground pool in my backyard. Also, there is like a little addition to my front door, which is 9.8 by 14 feet. Thank you. And I have my contractor here attending with me. His name is Rudy. He's attending with us as well, if there is any question. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you.
Hi.
Welcome to you both.
Thank
Would the contractor like to say anything at all before we move on?
No, it's just it's addition on sonotube. The back room is on a sonotube, no foundation, and the deck size, the new deck size on the top next to the room the size will be determined later based on the situation on site to connect with the existing deck around the pool.
Mhm. Okay, Eileen, do you have any comments on this one for the commission?
So I'm sharing the plan that Rudy and Maher provided. As this thing that's marked wetland here is actually a stream. It's a locally regulated stream. It's about approximately 55 or 60 feet from this proposed new addition, which you can see on the back. As Rudy says, it's going to be on sonotubes. It's a pretty built-up yard and property as it is, so I don't see an addition on the far side of the house being an issue.
All right, so do you have any concerns at all?
I don't.
All right. All right, let's see if any further comment from the commission. Gail, do you have anything further on this one?
So, I just have a couple questions. One is about the plan. So, I see that you're having that new deck going off the new addition. Are you so you're keeping the other deck? Because I don't see that on this plan. So is the existing deck staying or is it going to be removed?
No, it's staying. but the new existing, so there is existing deck around the pool, but it's not big. So we're gonna extend the existing deck to connect it with a couple of steps from the new deck on the top to the lower deck around the pool.
No, I think I am sorry to interrupt. I think you meant the existing deck, the wood deck attached to the room right now, or to the pool side?
Yeah, the one that's over by the closest to your neighbor's house on
Because
the.
then, yeah, this will be removed. This will be taken down.
Okay,
And
all right.
the room will come in the place of this deck and attach it to a small deck, and then a little bit of extension going to the pool.
Okay, and the front door, that's just like a covered addition there. That's just a covered front door kind of thing you're adding, like a little roof over the the front doorway. Is that, or is there?
It will be like an addition, like we will make it like a little bit like
It's gonna be an
right up,
entrance.
Okay.
the entrance, yeah.
So I guess, you know, maybe, so when we look at projects in the riverfront, that generally there's an expectation of some type of improvement. And so I think, you know, taking down the old deck is an improvement because that's closer to the riverfront than, you know, the other end. So that's a good thing. Are you, any plans to take down any trees in any of this work?
Definitely, yes. I am surrounded by a lot of trees, and I think my plan is to take down some trees before we start the work, so just make the area safe, like a little bit. We have a lot of trees going around us.
Okay, so that could be a problem, because this is in the riverfront, and you would have to,
Uh,
wait, before
I
you
mean, on
make,
the back, it's not like the back area, like it has some like fallen branches. So I like will trim some branches and
sure. So I think before you do any tree work, you should connect with the office, because you know, we wouldn't want you to do anything that would be a problem and have
definitely.
problems later. So I would just connect with the office so that they can agree that whatever tree work you're planning is acceptable.
Okay.
But that's all I have for now.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Right.
you.
Indra, do you have any comments? on
Yes,
this?
so the front entrance, that would be a covered foyer, right?
Yeah,
Covered foyer. And the addition at the rear, will that be a 1-story or 2-story?
just one story.
Just
The second floor. Yeah, yeah.
All right, that's all I have. Gail has covered.
Okay.
all of this.
Bill?
Thank you.
Thank you. The new addition will have a new roof covering it. Will you have gutters, or how do you plan to handle the runoff on that?
Yeah, we're gonna copy the same existing room now. We're gonna copy the same roofing, so it will having the same roof. And
Okay.
all the gutter will be, everything will be renewed and be properly with the new addition.
And you'll have gutters to downspouts, or?
We have, we have gutter on the side to the
Okay.
near the pool, and this will be added to the existing, so we'll have one full gutter now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
With downspouts, of course.
All set, Bill? I guess Bill's all set.
Yes, I'm all set. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kent, anything on this one?
No, Bill asked the one question I had, and then Gail asked the question about the trees. I think I'm all set.
Yeah. The only question I have is for the commission and our staff. Did you see any opportunity for either picking up stuff that shouldn't be there or improving the wetland as part of this project? I didn't see too much myself, but I thought I'd, just in case any of you recall anything.
No, I did not notice anything that could be addressed.
Oh, Larry, can I just get a clarification? Because I didn't understand that the old deck was coming off. So is that definitely happening?
I think that's what he said.
No, the existing pool deck on the other side of the pool is staying the same.
Oh, Right.
Yeah.
So I
Just
thought
the
you
deck
said it was
attached to
being
the
removed.
house. Yeah.
The current deck, which is between us and the neighbor, this is going down, and the room will be replacing this area of the deck.
Right.
Uh,
But the deck that's
yeah.
already attached to the pool is remaining.
Is remaining, yes.
Okay.
And-
when
and-
you said you were thinking
Eileen,
about
did you
taking
see
out-
any possible improvement to the wetland or anything that needs to be addressed?
Well, I thought the removal of that other deck would have been an improvement, but that's not happening. Mara, when you said you were thinking about taking down some trees, you also hadn't mentioned that before. Where are those trees?
The tree will be the back, like behind the pool, not behind towards the wetland, but behind the depths of the house. So there are some very old tree, and like almost I would say some branches are falling, like almost can be dangerous. So I'm not planning to take the whole trees, but maybe trimming, and whatever you allow me to do, I will do.
If there is a damaged tree that needs to come down, or there is a diseased tree, or for some other reason, our staff allows a tree to come down and it reduces the shade in the wetland, which is important for our wetland viability, we may ask you to replant a tree somewhere nearby.
Okay, I will definitely not do anything before you permit me to do.
Sure, thank you for that, sir.
Thank you.
All right, is there anyone in the audience for this? This is a proposed addition at 34 Freeport Drive. I guess that does not seem to be the case. So Eileen, do you have a draft of a negative conditional determination for us to take a look at?
I do. Hopefully I'm sharing it now. So this is for Mara Solomon's project. The applicant proposed to construct a 17 feet 8 inch by 24 foot deck addition on the back of an existing single family house and a 9/8 by 10/8 feature to the front of the house. The work would be within locally regulated riverfront and a 100-foot buffer zone to stream bank and bordering vegetated wetlands. He provided a plot plan and the first floor sheet plan that we were all just looking at. The closest work was located approximately 55 to 60 feet. It says Sawmill Brook, but that's not correct. Sorry about that. From a locally regulated stream and from the stream bank and bordering vegetated wetlands. Sorry, actually, let me just remove that right now. The Commission is voting to issue a negative determination of applicability, and certain conditions have been imposed, which we'll run through, but everybody got a copy of this earlier. This decision is only for work as outlined in the project description above and as discussed this evening. Erosion controls in the form of 9-inch straw wattles backed with a towed-in silt fence or 9-inch compost tubes or staked hay bales shall be installed between the house and stream no closer than 20 feet from the stream. All construction, demolition materials and excavated soil shall be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. There should be no stockpiling of soil or other materials within 50 feet of the wetland. No tracking of sediment onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if that happens, the roadway shall be swept fully. Rear addition shall be on solid tubes, not a foundation. And these are some standard conditions about not dumping in the wetlands or streams, and pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides should not be used within 100 feet of wetlands or streams. Let me just go back up here because apparently I was confused again. There's 3 RDAs this evening in riverfronts, so I got confused, and apparently this is actually in riverfront of Sawmill Brook. Sorry about that.
All right, any on the commission have any comments? And sir, do you have any comments on this? This is pretty standard stuff.
Sorry, can I add a quick comment? The measurement, the depth of the front addition should be 14, not 10.8, if possible. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
You're not interrupting. I asked for your comment.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay, Eileen, on number 2, there's a typo there on the first line at the end of the line, number 2 condition.
Yeah,
do you
do you have
want me
to
to
put something in about the trees? Remediation for trees, like if you
Yeah,
take
let's
out
do that. Let me share it again and we can just see where it's going to go. Okay.
Sounds like a good suggestion,
What was
Ken.
the one Larry said? Larry said there was a staked.
Yeah, stake, not staled.
Okay, good point. Okay, I'll just add something at the end here about, something like applicant shall consult with conservation if trees are to be removed or before any tree removals. Okay.
I'd say any, I would say any tree work.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt.
What was that?
Interrupt.
Wait, what?
And
Oh, I just said sorry to interrupt while you were speaking.
problem, Ken. Okay. So, good catch, Ken. Thank you. So is there anything else from the commission? All right. Then could I have a motion to approve a negative conditional determination with conditions under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14 for the project at 34 Freeport Drive?
Gail?
Yeah. Second?
Second, Bill.
Second, Indra.
All right. Gail, how do you vote?
Yes.
Kendra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so by a vote of 4-0-0, the project for 34 Freeport Drive is approved. Good luck with your project, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. No,
All right,
thank you.
good to see you.
Thank you. Good to see you too. Thank you.
Yes, all right.
Thank you.
Yes, all right. So now we'll move on to item 4B. Okay. Notice is hereby given, the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting, during which time we'll act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by George and Kathleen Deleski. The commission will take all information related to the proposed construction of a residential addition within bordering land subject to flooding, riverfront area in the 100-foot buffer zone to stream bank and bordering vegetative wetlands. The property is located at 7 South Bedford Street in Burlington. The commission will thereafter issue a determination. The application is being heard pursuant to the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw Article 14. And to obtain a copy of the application, you can email conservation@burlington.org. Okay, so this is a project for 7 South Bedford Street. Is there someone here for that?
There is.
Hi there tonight.
Hi, I'm Kathy Deleski,
Pleased to meet you. All
and
right.
I've lived in Burlington for 65 years.
All right. Well, it's nice to see you. Sounds like you like Burlington.
Well, never got out.
There you go.
Well, I've seen it change a lot.
Yeah, traffic is one of the big changes, isn't that correct?
Yes.
That's for sure, among other things. All right, so you've introduced yourself, so you're welcome to say whatever you would like. We let the guests go first, and you're a guest.
I don't know. You guys saw the property. You have the picture of what we're doing. So I don't know. Do you want me to say something else?
No, you can say as little as you want, and we can just move on from there.
Okay.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Let's go to Eileen. Do you have any comments for the commission on this one?
Yes, so several of you were out there yesterday, as Kathy says. This is a proposal. Let me share a couple of things. Let me share the photograph that I took and I sent around yesterday. This is her deck. They're proposing to cut about 6 feet. No, not 6 feet. Yes, 6 feet into the deck and 22 feet across to make a small bump out to what I think might be her kitchen. It's on
Yes.
an existing deck. There's a lot of footings there, and they're proposing to put 3 extra footings. And that's really going to be the only impact. Her house is in the inner riverfront to Longmeadow Brook. No, yeah, Longmeadow. So
Yes.
I was going to show you just the aerial for that as well, just so they get an idea about the distance. But given the scope of this project, I don't have any concerns about it either and even though she's very close to the stream, as you can see, this is a very tiny project. It's just a bump out on an existing deck.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's see if we have any questions. Gail, any questions on this one?
No.
Indra?
I have one question. How far is it is from the stream?
Where the addition's gonna be?
Yes.
On top of the deck, 30 feet maybe? Does that seem right? Maybe 40? The deck goes probably within 25 feet of the brook,
I see.
the far end of the deck.
I estimated the work to be about 40 feet from the brook, Indra.
I never measured it. You could be right. It seems close.
So will there be any anything at the rear or near to the streamline? Anything?
No,
Any machinery or anything will go? Just construct?
no, just right next to the house.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, thank you.
All right, Bill, anything?
No, I don't see any problems with this, that the entire project is within the confines of the existing deck. And the only disturbance is going to be a few more sonors. So I see it has minimal impact.
Indra, did I call on you?
Yeah, you did. I'm all set.
Okay, and Gail's all set. Okay, how about Kent? Anything on this one?
Nope, Bill covered what is, doesn't it?
Is there, to either our staff or the commission, is there anything that needs to be done regarding the wetlands or anything that needs attention again? Same question as the last one?
I don't think so. Bill and I took a look in the stream yesterday, and it was clean and clear, and they're not throwing anything in. There was no leaves or debris or anything.
No, we do go in every couple of years and clean all the crap out that got in it.
Very
and
good.
so there was no dumping, so no.
All right, well, we appreciate homeowners that do take care of the resources in their backyard.
Well, it's so pretty. I like it to look nice.
Okay, is there anyone in the audience for this? I don't have anything further. Okay, the record should show the answer is no. And like the other one, Eileen, you have a negative conditional determination?
I do. Hopefully,
Okay.
John caught all the typos on this one. So, the applicant proposed to construct a 6 by 22 foot addition on an existing deck at the back of a single family house, installing an additional 3 footings to support the structure. The work would be within the inner riverfront area to Longmeadow Brook. The plan is an Aptio aerial that we marked up. The closest work was approximately 40 feet from Longmeadow Brook and within bordering land subject to flooding, riverfront area, and the 100-foot buffer zone to stream bank and bordering vegetated wetlands. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention the flood zone before, but with just three footings, I don't think it's
And he did.
it's a de minimis.
He didn't think we'd need 3, but he said to be on the safe side, I'll put that.
Okay. So the decision is for the work only as outlined above, with most of the same conditions that you already just heard, Kathy, from the other one. Erosion controls in the form of 9-inch straw wattles backed with a towed-in silt fence, 9-inch compost tubes or staked hay bales shall be installed between the house and the stream no closer than 20 feet from the stream. All construction or demolition materials and excavated soil shall be disposed of off-site in a legal manner, and nothing should be placed closer to the stream than the erosion control. No stockpiling or soil of other materials within 50 feet of the wetland or the stream in this case. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if any tracking happens, you've got to sweep the road daily. Don't dump any sediment or landscaping materials into the stream or wetlands. And pesticides, herbicides, fungicides should not be used basically within your property. And fertilizer only if it's a slow-release phosphorus-free fertilizer. Members of the commission or their representatives shall have the right to enter upon just to inspect the premises to make sure these conditions are being upheld, and a non-compliance shall be deemed a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act.
All right, ma'am, is there any comment from you, or do you have any questions about what you've seen so far?
I don't think so. I didn't understand some of it, but
It's very routine stuff that almost everybody gets the same conditions. So there's nothing, I don't believe there's anything here special for you exactly.
no,
So,
I won't throw garbage in the brook.
all right, that's good to know. Okay.
But sometimes like a cover from a grill will blow in from somebody else's and we'll find it at the bottom of the brook.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
So let me ask, could I have a motion to issue a negative conditional determination for the project at 7 South Bedford Street under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Indra.
All right, so Gail, how do you vote?
Yes,
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so by a vote of 400, the project at 7 South Bedford Street is approved. Good luck with your project.
Thank you so much.
Take care. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you. And have a fun meeting.
It's getting more fun all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're on item 4C. We have notices given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a WebEx virtual public meeting, during which time the commission will act upon a request for determination of applicability filed by Yichen Khan. The commission will take all information related to the proposed construction of residential additions within a locally regulated riverfront area in the 100-foot buffer zone, the stream bank, and bordering vegetative wetlands. The project is located at 88 Mill Street in Burlington. The application is being heard under both the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. And you may obtain a copy of the application by emailing conservation@burlington.org. All right, so is there someone here for that?
Yes, I'm here.
Could you tell me, please, the correct pronunciation of your name? I'm afraid I got it all wrong.
Oh, actually, you pronounced great. My first name is Yi Chen, and my last name is Qian.
Chen, okay.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you.
nice to meet you. Yeah.
All right, so thank you for that introduction. Would you like to
Yep.
say anything about what you're planning to do?
Yep. I'm the owner of 88 Mill Street. Actually, I just moved into town for 4 months. I'm still very new here, but I can say it's a lovely community. And the proposed project of my home is like doing the front porch and also the backyard. It's doing a addition for the living room. It's 16 by 20, and I got most of the trustee come yesterday, and I think they already see like, yeah, I already explained my project and they already checked the line. I mean, I checked the land, and yeah, I think that's pretty much. I mean, if you guys have any questions, just feel free to ask. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you for that summary. All right, so Eileen, do you have any comments for us on this one?
Much the same as before. This is actually in the same. This is only one street over from Freeport, so I got confused earlier. It's the same. She's in the outer riverfront area also to Sawmill, and she's proposing, as she said, to let me share one of the plans. Proposing to build a small addition on the back. I hope you can see that. If you look way over from where my pointer is pointing, the stream is on the neighboring property, about 130 feet away from her proposed addition. And there's a vinyl fence all the way along the left-hand property line.
Yep.
So once again, I don't think that this is an addition that is going to have any detrimental effect to the riverfront area.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so let's go through, see if our commissioners have any questions or comment. Gail?
so I was out at the site yesterday, and so I hadn't viewed the plans beforehand. So I see that you're also planning a change to your front entry. Is this like a small porch or something, or a just covered front door?
Yeah, it's just a small porch and just cover the front door, and yeah.
Okay, and so I know you haven't lived in the home very long. Are you planning to do any tree work on the property or put any plantings in?
No, because like yeah, you came yesterday and you see it's all flat land. There's almost no tree. There's only one Christmas tree there, but definitely we will keep that tree as a Christmas tree. It can decorate on Christmas. Yeah. So yeah, I love that tree, definitely. Yeah, and also we don't have any trees on the land, so yeah.
Okay, so are you planning to plant anything?
Yeah. Is it possible to do that?
That's good.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and if you would like some suggestions of, because you're in an area near a resource area, it's always nice to plant things that are native to this area that are that will do well and are just good for wildlife and so forth. You can just contact the office and they have a list of plants that would do well. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, after addition, we will definitely do some plant work. We want to build like a decent gardens there, like have tomatoes and trees and yeah, hydrangea, whatever. Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
make sure you
definitely.
have a fence. The rabbits and the deer like that too. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm done.
All right,
Okay,
thank you, Gail.
thank you.
Indra,
Yes, I have one question. The addition, the foundation would be on sonotube or you're gonna dig?
Could you ask the questions again? Sorry about that.
The foundation of that addition, will that means you're gonna dig and put the foundation, or that would be on the sonotubes? Do you
Oh,
know?
it's yeah, because my contract is not here, but I think you are asking like my foundation is 4 feet deep and they without basement. And yeah, I think that's pretty much.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
It's not on sonotube.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I'm all set.
all right, thank you, Indra. How about Bill?
I have nothing else.
Kent, anything else on this one?
Nope.
Thank you. And I have nothing further on this one either. Is there anyone in the audience that has any contribution to make for this project at 88 Mill Street? Okay,
Can I just add for Indra that this one isn't in the floodplain, so it's not necessarily an issue if she puts a slab foundation in there.
Oh, okay, yeah,
In the
that's
other
good.
one, it was floodplain, so really it could only ideally
Okay.
footings were the best option in that one.
That's better. It's not in floodplain. Good.
Okay, so I think the input part of this is over. Could I have a motion to approve negative conditional determination for the project?
Do you want me to share the conditions first?
Yes, that would be a good
Okay.
idea.
Okay, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Okay.
I think Larry's got an appointment coming up. Moving along here.
Well, again, they're going to be
No,
very
I
much
was
the same as the last
just-
two.
Just a mental lapse, a senior moment, I think they call that, right?
The applicant proposed to remove an existing deck and construct a 20 by 16 foot addition and a 20 by 11 foot deck on the back of an existing family house and a 10 by 8 foot entry porch onto the front of the same house. The work would be in the outer riverfront area of Sawmill Brook. The closest work located within the riverfront area of Sawmill Brook was about 130 feet from the stream. As before, this decision is only for work as described tonight and described herein, and not for any other work. Any other plans Yicheng should come back to us. All construction, demolition materials and excavated soils should be disposed of off-site in a legal manner. No stockpiling of soil or other materials within 50 feet of the wetland. That's kind of moot here, but she should probably stockpile on the back of the house rather than close to the road. No tracking of sediments onto public roadways shall be allowed, and if that happens, sediment shall be swept daily. Don't generally, as just good practice, don't dump any sediment or lawn clippings into vegetated wetlands or stream. She's separated from the stream by a fence, so that would be quite the feat. No pesticides, herbicides, or fungicides to be used within 100 feet of wetlands unless otherwise approved by the Commission. Members of the Commission or their designated representatives have the right to check on these on compliance with these conditions, and a non-compliance shall be deemed a violation of the Wetlands Protection Act.
All right, any comments from the commission on these?
Yeah, I just noticed on the very first page, Eileen, we can go
Yeah.
back to it.
Yeah. Oh, Bill, I can't hear you. Are you still talking?
Yeah, I took my finger off the button. Under plan reference,
Yes.
is plat plan correct? I'm not familiar with that.
No, I think in this case it was a plot plan.
Plot plan, and underneath that is
course, I think-
first.
Right, you have Frist.
I am going to get out to
Okay.
my editor for this.
Thank you.
Thank you. Both fixed now.
Good, thank you, Bill. Anyone else have a comment on it? Other than those comments, this looks very similar to the last one, Eileen.
Yes, they're all very similar.
Right. All right, so now let's move on with it. We're ready for a motion to approve a negative conditional determination for the project at 88 Mill Street under the State Wetlands Protection Act and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14.
So moved, Bill.
Second, Gail?
All right, Gail, how do you vote?
Yes?
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so by a vote of 4-0-0, the project at 88 Mill Street is approved. Good luck with your project.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So
Thank you.
I think that's pretty much for me, right? I can just leave the meeting. Can I?
Absolutely. We don't require you to watch the rest of the meeting.
Okay. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Bye.
All right, nice to see you. Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
All right, so now we're on number 5, a public hearing. We have notices hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a virtual public hearing. The commission will take all information related to a Burlington Wetlands Bylaw permit application filed by Bo Santangelo and Federal Investment Trust for the construction of stormwater management features located at 207 Cambridge Street in Burlington. The proposed work will be with vegetative wetlands pursuant to Burlington Bylaw Article 14. The commission will review all information relative to the application and may issue a Burlington's wetland permit. This application may be viewed online at the Conservation Commission's webpage. All right, so who's here representing 207 Cambridge Street?
For the record, my name is Mary Trudeau, and I am representing 207 Cambridge Street this evening.
Good to see you tonight.
Okay. This project is filed under your local wetlands bylaw and not the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act. The property is an existing developed site with a large commercial building and an expansive parking area. It's a paved parking surface, and the lot itself is about 3 acres in size. On the west side of the building, between Woodcrest Avenue and the existing building, there's a very steep slope. This slope discharges stormwater to our site, to the building, actually. And if you go out there after even a relatively small rain event, there's quite a bit of standing water that has come off of this slope and is trapped by the existing footprint of the building. Portions of the area where the water has become trapped has started to grow wetland plant community. Other areas are just mucky and dominated by standing water that doesn't move very well. In the past, the owner of the property tried to drain the site by creating a hole down at the just above Cambridge Street, hoping that the water would flow parallel to the building and end up in this hole. And while that does happen to some extent, the drainage problem is bigger than the hole is at the current time. When I went out there to look at it, I was sure that it was not a bordering vegetated wetland, that it didn't have the 3 criteria that I look for typically, which would be soils, vegetation, and hydrology throughout the area. But I did feel that it was likely to be protected under your local bylaw, which is a little looser in its definition. So to the best I could do, I did mark the limit of the local wetlands on this site, and you'll see that the delineation comes almost right up to the edge of the building. The work that's proposed in this project is twofold. The property owner would like to rehabilitate the existing parking surfaces, and they've currently been in front of the planning board for some of these changes. The work that they have proposed includes the removal of approximately 4 parking spaces over on the west side of the building near where the hole is, and the subsequent reconstruction of a better sized drainage structure, an impoundment or pond, that would be able to manage the stormwater that runs off of this hillside to the west and is currently trapped between the building and the toe of the slope. Right now, in the current condition, when the hole fills up with water, flows discharge overland to Cambridge Street, causing potentially a freezing problem, which is of concern to the town as well as to Mr. Santangelo. So we have proposed an overflow valve system for this newly designed drainage impoundment that would allow the water to rise to a certain point, and then rather than flowing overland, they would be hard piped into an existing drainage structure that currently lies within Cambridge Street. We've also shown a better defined swale running along the western side of the building, and this would hopefully do a better job of conveying the flows that are running onto this site. Right now, there are several doorways along the western wall of this building, and the tenants literally can't get out of the building without stepping into fairly significant water depths after a rainfall. I was out there this summer when we'd had, I think, 5 inches of rain the day before, and it was really almost impassable. The water just sits there. It doesn't move properly at all. The other work that's proposed in this filing is the rehabilitation of the parking area. This is not a full depth reconstruction. There will be cold planing of the existing parking surface. Then they sweep it, and then they would apply a new layer of bituminous material atop the old footprint. There's no expansion of the existing paved areas. There's actually a small reduction in impervious surface because we're pulling out the 4 parking places to allow us to expand the stormwater management area. And I believe that the planning board is working with Mr. Santangelo to improve some of the planting areas and landscaping on the site as well. We've proposed the use of Filtrex tubes in areas where we feel sediment may be discharged, and those erosion controls will be maintained throughout the construction process. Are there questions from the commission?
All right, thank you. John or Eileen, do you have some comments for us on this one?
I do, but first, Mary, I know you're not the engineer, but could you just explain the design of the basin and the overflow into where it goes for the commission?
Yes. Currently, there's a hole that was kind of an informal detention basin out there. What we've proposed to do is to carry flows along a better defined channel that we've shown running parallel to the building, ultimately allowing these waters to enter into a new stormwater management area, a detention basin that would be larger and have greater capacity than the existing system does. As the water levels rose, they would be contained in the detention basin until they reached the elevation of the outlet control structure, and then flows that reached that point, rather than overtopping the basin and running as overland flow into Cambridge Street, they would then be hard piped into the existing drainage structure out in Cambridge Street. So flows would stand in the basin, rise in the basin, and when they got to a certain elevation, they would be piped out to the existing stormwater management system within Cambridge Street.
Thank you. So, so this addresses a situation that everybody in town is really concerned about: the icing on the sidewalk, the icing on the road. In the wintertime, it's an unsafe situation. So they've got a permit from Mass DOT to actually make this hard connection to the DOT drainage system. So this is kind of a unique wetland, obviously. It's not jurisdictional under the Wetlands Protection Act. It is under the bylaw. However, for those of you who have been out there, the functions and values of this wetland are fairly minimal. There's probably not much infiltration and recharge of groundwater. There's really no wildlife habitat value. So what they're proposing to do is to try to drain it more quickly than it drains. The source of it is mostly from that hillside. There's obviously high groundwater as well, but so even if the road weren't there, it's at the bottom of the hill, and the building acts as a dam. But there are two streets in addition to Woodcrest. There's another street, Leopold, which is down beyond the end of the building, which also discharges water there. So it all sort of comes down and gets trapped there. You know, it's an improvement to an unfortunate situation. So even though it will disturb some regulated wetlands under the bylaw, I think it's kind of a necessity to approve something like this.
Okay. All right. Let's see where this discussion goes. Thank you, John. Gail, would you like to start off on this one?
Sure. So it seems like if this works, it should be an improvement. Is that a 2-foot depth to this, detention basin, or is that what I'm reading?
Yeah,
Okay.
that it's approximately 2 feet in depth. We also have an issue with high groundwater. So we're limited in what capacity we can provide on-site storage. And this seemed to be the compromise that we could engineer.
So it's not meant to, this wouldn't be able to infiltrate. This is just for temporary storage, and then any overflow would drain off.
Yeah, I would say it's more of a retention
Yep.
basin at some elevations, and then it only detains water as it gets higher.
So how is this going to be maintained? Because I assume, because that next to the building, that's kind of a, just there's not much going on there. But it's not an area that's mowed or anything like that, which is good. But is this an area that is going to be mowed, or is it?
I think it's going to be very similar to what it is now, that there is some need to have, access from these rental units out, a second access.
Yep.
But if you look at it, they don't use those entrances or access points for much other than opening the door to get some fresh air, I think. There's no formalized path system. It's not,
Okay.
it certainly isn't safe enough to push things along.
Yep.
There. It's very
Okay.
soft.
Okay. All right. That's it.
All right. Next is Indra.
Yeah. So you said that there would be a channel or drainage soil along the building?
Yeah, there currently is a flow path along the building, and we're formalizing it and giving it a little better stabilization so that water is better conveyed. Right now, the water moves in some areas, then it stops and it spreads out. It's not really a functional drainage swale in the current condition, even though water wants to move towards Cambridge Street.
What is made of this soil channel, whatever you're saying, made of what?
I believe it's earth and as proposed swale, crushed stone. It's a crushed stone.
Crushed stone.
Yeah, it's very dark and shady back there. I'm not clear that you could actually get grass to grow successfully in the swale. I think there's a very short window during the day that sunlight is actually able to penetrate that area between the hillside to the west and the building to the east.
So you said that there are doors in this side from the building. So the people are
Yes.
gonna step on this soil, right?
There are doors on the west side of the building, but they're like emergency doors. They don't have a footpath to them, and they're not really trafficked. I've seen the grocery store have theirs open, and I thought it was to that area, and I've never seen the karate studio open. And I suspect that all the deliveries for the auto supply store will come on the paved surface on the east side of the building where the entrance is. Yeah, I mean, it's just unsightly back there.
All right, thank you.
All right.
I'm all set.
Bill can't hear you yet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was up. I have a couple questions. The swale, crushed stone swale, is there going to be a pitch to it? Will it pitch down towards the street? I don't want it to just be a longer pool of standing water.
Yes, I believe it does have a pitch to it,
Okay.
that it's designed to move water, not infiltrate water.
Okay. And the depression itself, that you're planning, the detention basin, is that going to be just stone or will that be planted?
I think that would be planted. We do actually grow grass in that part of the site. The existing hole has grass growing around it. I always saw it full of water this year, so I'm not sure what the vegetation was at the bottom, but it's sunnier there.
Okay, and the other, one more comment. I think the largest wildlife inhabitant there is probably mosquitoes because of all the standing water, so this will certainly help. But I also noticed on that small covered area where there was a cover over the air conditioning pumps, there's 2 barrels of just standing water out there. I don't know why they're there, but they're certainly not functional and are just, again, collecting mosquitoes. So
Yeah.
they should be removed.
I can talk to my client about that. I suspect that no one even looks out there. There's just, they've just been there and no one has checked it.
That's what that looks like. Those barrels are just standing old water, and that's a classic breeding ground.
Yeah,
So that's all I have. Thank you.
thank you.
All right, Kent, anything on this one?
Bill covered it all.
All right. The first question that I have is, if you look at the existing topo lines from 152 to 150, and it goes a little ways just before the swale, it looks to me like you're creating that the existing topographic lines seem to be encouraging some water to go from 152 to 150, and then when it hits 148, it looks like it could divide. It go to the left and to the right of 148, and it looks to me like the stuff is going to be entering the swale at the not intended location, at the not intended inlet.
I'm sorry, which portion of the swale are you looking at, Larry?
If you put your pointer on right, higher up, to the right, higher up, straight up, right there. I think water might start to run downhill from there. And might start to pour to the left and the right of that 148 right there. And you're going to get water diverting, not necessarily into the swale, I think. Is that correct? Am I correct?
I can ask the engineer to look at that, and it may be that he's assuming some minor topographic grading is going to occur, maybe less than a foot, so it wouldn't show up on this site plan.
Right.
But I
So
can have him clarify that.
In other words, Mary, if you stay with this design, he may want to look at that exactly. What you
Yeah.
just said. Yeah.
Okay.
The second item I have is the area down where you're going to dig it is very saturated. And it looks like that you have a retention basin that is going to rise up 3 feet and then overflow into the rim and then go out the invert 3 feet down. I don't know what justification the engineer or you have for saying that the water is going to infiltrate with 3 feet of water. I think it's likely to be problematic given what we saw out there. So my suggestion is, I have a suggestion for you to think about, is wouldn't it be better to have an infiltration swale the length of the building and do away with this? And at the end, you put whatever water doesn't infiltrate, you have more chance of infiltrating it further up along the building than at the bottom where it is completely saturated. So I'm wondering if it's up to the engineer, but I think you're likely to have just sitting retaining water 3 feet that's not gonna go anywhere. And I suspect you're gonna have trouble with the Board of Health. And I know the water has to be handled, so at the end of the infiltration, whatever doesn't infiltrate along the length of the building, then you would simply go into the storm sewer.
Yeah, I can ask him to look at that, and it may be that the soils are really poor in that area, which pushed him towards a different design, but I think it's worth looking at. And even if it meant perhaps expanding the swale and adding stone so that the voids captured some of that water,
Exactly.
that might work as well. So let me bring that up with Fred and we'll get back to you.
And the chances of infiltration further up, where less water has accumulated as opposed to the bottom, is more
Yeah.
likely to get some infiltration. But, he'll have to, you folks will have to evaluate it.
Yeah, I'll ask him to look at that.
Okay. And the thing is, is there any problem with having a basin there and emergency access at all? For, I think they can probably get along it, but I don't know if there's any issues with emergency access having a 3-foot basin of water to the 148 line around that basin that you have designed seems to be right adjacent, close to the building. If there was a need to evacuate in an emergency, I don't know if the presence of that basin this is not conservation related, obviously, but may impede the emergency egress.
Well, we are before the planning board, so I would assume that we will get comments from the fire and emergency services departments, and we will address that. There's parking, there's paved access around most of the building. It's just that one side. I'm not sure whether they would need to access that for firefighting.
Well, it's just something I noticed. It's not conservation related. I'm just asking you to put it on the list and address it with the appropriate people.
Okay.
It's not our concern on that one, I don't think. So that's all I have, and mainly those two things that are conservation.
Okay.
Stormwater related.
Yeah, I'll have Fred look at that.
Is there anyone else in the audience here that has a comment for the new car parts proposal, apparently, for 207 Cambridge Road, Cambridge Street? I don't think there's anybody responding, so let's review what we have. Conservation related, I heard about two things I came up with, about modification of the topo lines, or perhaps having a infiltration swale the length of the building will be evaluated by your engineer.
Yeah.
And I heard someone say something about there's some standing water that needs to be attended to.
Correct. Bill had mentioned that.
Bill mentioned that. Anyone hear anything else? I didn't catch anything else.
You had a second comment about the grading right above the detention basin, that you felt it could split the flows. So I will have him check that as well.
Yes, please. And you're gonna bring to the engineer's attention, the idea that emergency access egress may be impeded with
Yeah.
pit 3 feet deep there. Okay, all right, is there anything else from anyone? Mary, would you like to be on the next?
I would like to request a continuance to the next meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission.
I have a motion, if there's nothing further from anyone else, to continue the hearing for 207 Cambridge Street until the Burlington's Conservation Commission October 28th meeting.
So moved, Indra.
Second.
Second, Bill.
Gail.
All right, so Gail, how do you vote?
Yes. Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes, so by a vote of 3-0, hearing for 207 Cambridge Street is continued to the Conservation Commission's meeting of October 28th. What's that on this one, Mary?
Okay.
Okay, all right. Okay, good. Next item on the agenda, okay, is another public hearing. Notice is hereby given that the Town of Burlington Conservation Commission will hold a virtual public hearing and will take information related to a notice of intent filed by the Islamic Center of Burlington for grading and restoration activities located at 130 Lexington Street in Burlington. The proposed work would be within the 100-foot buffer zone to bordering vegetative wetlands pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, which is the Wetlands Protection Law, and Burlington Bylaw, Article 14. Review and information relative to the application and may issue an order of conditions and a Burlington Wetlands permit for the proposed project. The application is available by going to the Conservation Commission's website, and you'll see a link and calling up the application at that location. All right, so who is here representing 130 Lexington Street?
For the record, my name is Mary Trudeau, and I am representing the Islamic Center this evening in their filing of a notice of intent as the resolution of an enforcement action that was taken against the Islamic Center at 130 Lexington Street. This is a project that originated with an enforcement action. The Islamic Center had brought large amounts of fill, about 350 cubic yards of material, onto what they believed was their property at 130 Lexington Street. Their intent was that they wanted to create like a grassy surface playing field type area for the members of their group. This was issued an enforcement action by the Burlington Conservation Commission because much of the fill was located within 100 feet of wetlands. The wetlands on this property are actually off-site and to the north of this lot. I was able to do a delineation of bordering vegetated wetlands, and for the most part, there was very little connectivity between the filling activities that occurred and the actual wetlands. However, there are portions of the 0 to 25-foot buffer zone that were impacted by the placement of fill materials. I think if you look at the site plan, we have shown where the 20-foot wetland buffer would fall on this lot with relation to the wetlands to the north. When we hired a surveyor to come out and look at this work and quantify the fill and figure out what we would need to do a restoration of this site, we realized that a fair amount of the fill had been put onto an adjacent property. The property that the fill was inadvertently placed on is to the east of this lot and is shown with a hatched pattern on the site plan in front of you. Much of the delay that we've had in responding to the original enforcement action was that we were trying to reach out to the current owner of that parcel to let them know that we had put fill on their property, that it was a violation of both the local wetlands bylaw and the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, and that we wanted to rectify the situation. We've tried phone calls, we've tried certified mail, we have never received a response from the owner. At some point late in the summer, we decided that we would just file the notice of intent showing the work that we would like to do both on our property and on the adjacent lot, and hope that we can work with the Conservation Commission, either to get the attention of the adjacent homeowner or to get the work on this property resolved. The work that we are proposing to do, and for the purposes of just making this simple, I'm going to talk about both lots in a single description, and then we can talk later about how we get permission to access the other lot. But we'd like to go in and remove all of the fill materials from the 0 to 20 foot buffer zone, as well as all of the fill materials on the property that's to the east of us. The property to the east of us is owned by a realty trust that appears to be owned by a man named Paul Caruso. But in any case, we would like to take all of the fill off of the Caruso property as well as off of the 0 to 25 foot buffer zone. We would like to create permanent demarcation of the 20 foot buffer zone using boulders that we have accumulated out on the site. We would set those at the 20 foot buffer zone line, and then we would plant woody vegetation and use a seed mix within the 0 to 20 foot line, creating a more naturalized buffer zone area or a restored wooded area. On the property that's between 25 feet and 100 feet, the next 75 feet of the buffer zone, as well as the remainder of the property under the control of the Islamic Center, we would like to spread the fill. The fill that was brought in is clean material, and we would like to fill it, and this would bring the grade of the property up somewhere between 1 and 2 feet, creating a level surface across the entire altered area. It would require the addition of, I think, about 35 cubic yards more. We've brought in 349 cubic yards illicitly, and to do the grading correctly, Meridian Associates estimated that we need to bring in another 35 cubic yards, bringing us just under 400 cubic yards of fill material to this area. This would also account for the material that we are pulling off of the Caruso property, that this would then be spread on the Islamic Center property. The Caruso property would be brought back to its original grades, which would be the pre-alteration elevations, and we would remove that fill and then seed it with a conservation seed mix and allow it to regenerate. We've talked about how do we get the attention of the property owner, and after thinking about it, I almost think that the Burlington Conservation Commission has to issue an enforcement order against the Caruso property, which would then encourage them to speak to the Islamic Center. The Islamic Center is very willing to do the restoration and remove the fill that they inadvertently put on someone else's property, but we don't have permission to go on it. You know, in the past, when the fill was put out there, ignorance was bliss. We didn't know it was the Islamic Center property and the material was spread. But now the Islamic Center is aware that this property belongs to someone else, and it would be trespassing to go in without their permission and pull out the fill materials. In terms of restoration after the spreading of fill material on the Islamic Center site, I think it would be seeded with native grasses and allowed to become meadow-like that would be mowed periodically. And I think at this point, I'm going to turn it to the commission to start this discussion.
Thank you, Mary. John or Eileen, do you have some comments for us on this one, please?
Sure, I can handle this. So obviously this has gone on a long time. One of the issues that I don't remember the answer to, and I think we asked previously, was the number of trees that had been cut. And I searched through old minutes and emails, and I couldn't find if we actually got an answer to that. Do you have any idea, Mary, how many actual trees were removed?
I do not. Meridian may have counted stumps when they were out there, but I'm not aware of them ever coming forward with a number.
Okay. So, and then the other issue is that we have preliminary floodplain maps that aren't official yet, but they're probably going to become official in 2023, that show an elevation, floodplain elevation out there of about 126.5. And I see a lot of spot grades here that are considerably under that, which means that by spreading the material around, you would be filling BLSF. I'm not sure what the elevation is on the current map, so I'll have to compare that, but it's something we definitely want to think about, whether or not we want that area elevated another foot or two.
Yeah, I don't believe that the area is currently considered a floodplain. I think it's an area of minimal flood hazard according to the current FEMA maps. I'm not sure how we plan for future floodplains. I would assume there's some uncertainty about whether that elevation will be challenged or accepted. In terms of today's floodplain, the work is not in the current floodplain.
So, I mean, I think the commission is supposed to take whatever relevant information in determining the floodplain. So currently, it looks like the flood elevation is 124.8, maybe. Looks like.
Yeah, I can't tell that from the map I have in front of me. We'd have to check
Yeah,
that.
it looks like 124.8.
For 124.6, not that it matters, but
Okay.
Where do you see that?
in along the edge there. So where are you looking?
Actually, on a FEMA map.
Okay, all right. So I don't have that in front of me.
Okay. Anyway, it's just something we should look at.
Okay, I'll have Meridian check that out.
Okay.
All right, let's go to Gail. So Gail, do you have comments on this one?
I can't hear Gail.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Any trees that were removed, I think we should look for replacement. And I'm a little concerned about this having to be a managed meadow. I think that it would be better just to let it grow back, and whatever grows there grows, because at least the experience that we've had, whenever people start managing things, they do a little bit too much over management of vegetated areas. So I think that it should just be left to grow, and whatever woody plants come up, let them be. If that's not appropriate, then please correct me. But it just seems whenever anything's managed, everything is whacked down, and next thing you know, it's a manicured lawn or something. But I do like the placement of the stones, the boulders in front of there, so that hopefully that will demarcate that and not cause any problems, future problems. That's all I have for now.
All right, how about Indra?
Yeah, I didn't get that. So you said you're gonna bring more fill, 35 cubic yard?
Yes, to bring it to the grades that are shown on the plan, which are the darker spot grades that range just over 125 to maybe at 125.5, we would need to bring in approximately 30 more cubic yards of fill.
and that you will do without taking those fill which you have in the other property, right? You're not gonna
No,
do
that would be using that fill as well. Most of the fill is on the Islamic Center property, but there is some fill material on the Caruso property. And that we have calculated the Caruso fill as being spread onto the Islamic Center fill.
Oh, so you will do that, plus you need 30 plus cubic yard.
Yes, yes. So there would be a total of 400 cubic yards, give or take, of material brought onto this site since the violation began.
So we have to look into the floodplain elevation.
Okay.
That is very important. That's what I have for now.
All right, thank you, Linda. How about Bill?
Well, my question is, if you're just going to create a meadow, I mean, that was your original plan, or maybe let it grow natural, why do you care how level it is? Why do you need 30-something more cubic feet of fill? And the other, and I guess previous to that question is, why was it cleared in the first place? Obviously not just to create a meadow, was it?
No, I think they wanted to have usable space, that they envisioned using this property for recreational usage. And I think they still would like to do that this is, you know, a fairly active group that uses the Islamic Center, and they would like to have this land be part of their recreational use.
So then you would not want it to be growing back woody plants and trees and stuff.
No, I don't think that's the intent of my clients.
Yeah.
It certainly wasn't when they started this process.
So if we were going to request replacement of trees that were cut, it would probably only be along the very borders of this property or something?
I think we'd have to look at a landscaping plan, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's all that I have. Thank you.
All right, Kent.
Nothing else to add.
Thank you, Kent. You know, I'm looking at this plan, Mary, and the wetland line seems to be mostly at the bottom of the slope. Is that correct? Mostly?
The wetlands line generally runs along an existing stone wall that's out there.
Looks like, but it looks like there's a slope above it. As I see the.
Yes, it does, yes. The site is slightly higher than the adjacent wetlands. You step down into the wetlands, and part of that grade change is because of the stone wall.
All right. Well, I think the intent of the no disturb zone is because the wetlands buffer works in connection with the wetlands resource. And we have established, actually, as you probably well know, that 50 feet would be better, but in Burlington, we established 20 feet. However, because of practical considerations for the size of the lots. In this particular situation, although we have 20 feet, I think a more appropriate no disturb zone would be like 20 feet or larger from the 125 line. In other words, you know, having a no disturb zone that's at sort of like minimal at the top of our rock wall or rock slope. I'm not sure how valuable that is. And furthermore, if sort of like a number of trees were cut, and if we're going to look for some replacement, I don't think we have enough space in that area to put the number of trees, you know, for a proper replacement. So I'd like to encourage you to go back, engineer, and look at least some distance away from the one, looks like 125 or somewhere around there at the top of the slope, and then do a distance from there as establish a no disturb zone based on how much space is needed for a replacement of trees that were, a substantial number of trees that were taken down.
Okay, I had a little trouble hearing you, so I'm just gonna repeat what you're saying, just so that I'm clear. You're saying that the 20-foot no disturb zone on this site is not particularly effective because it's located above the stone wall, and that you would like to see it expanded to include a planting area that would be used for mitigation, replacement of trees.
Correct. In other
Okay.
words, I think the way you've got it drawn is too little for replacement of enough trees to replace what was taken down.
Okay. I can look at that.
All right, and regarding, Gail, regarding your comment about managed no disturb zone.
Larry, it's really hard to hear you. I don't know if there's something wrong with your microphone or something else going on in your room.
No, there's nothing on. It's sort of odd. But
That's better.
okay, I'll stop moving around. Maybe that'll. Regarding your comment about manage, are you suggesting that we shouldn't plant whatever no disturb zone that we come up with, we shouldn't plant and do that? Or are you suggesting that whatever we plant, we shouldn't manage it after it's planted?
Yeah, so my point was that, you know, if it would, Mary had mentioned that this would be a, you know, a meadow-like area that would be periodically mowed, and I'm just concerned that, you know, if you, you know, start having that happen, that, you know, everything gets plowed over and nothing ever gets left to grow and restore the wetland value, any kind of pollinating plants or any kind of plants of any value. And so that would just be kind of, you know, short grass. But then Mary later, when she was talking to Bill, had talked about that there's an intention of this becoming a recreation area. So I think we need more information about that. I mean, you know, a recreation area that's going to become a paved basketball court, or, you know, what are we talking about? Because you know, kind of the wetland buffer and those kind of things don't seem to go together. But so I guess you know, what's intended for the, you know, after it's rehabilitated, this seems like an area that's going to be used, and you know, is it going to be heavily used so that nothing ends up growing there? It just all this work may not be useful if it's like always trafficked and so forth.
Talking about the 25 to 100 foot zone? Did you say that?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you, Larry.
Are you talking about the 25 to 100 foot zone?
So I'm talking about the no disturb area, this area here that they've outlined.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm looking at.
Okay. I'm gonna. Okay, how about now? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
There's just you've got a lot of something going on. A lot of, it sounds like the wind is blowing.
Yeah, it sounds like the wind is blowing through your room there.
Fan going in your room?
No, I turned it off for exactly the reason that to avoid that issue. All right, I'll have to try to make some adjustments and see what I can do at some point. I'm not sure what's causing it though.
Okay, and what I'm hearing from Gail is that she wants more clarity on the management of this area in the future, both in terms of usage and vegetation, and I can certainly work on that.
And maintenance too, Mary. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of, so how that maintenance might correlate or reflect whatever they intend to do there.
Okay.
All right, is there anyone in the audience for this? All right, so what I have here is we're going to get more specificity on how the no disturb zone is to be handled, on the number of trees, and we're going to get some clarification on the floodplain. My understanding is that regulations allow for us to consider relevant information that contributes to the floodplain. So the source of the information on a proposed floodplain may be considered relevant. We'll have to take a look at that. And I made the comment that the no disturb zone should be sufficiently large from the top of the boulders to have sufficient space to do our plantings to replace the trees.
Yeah, so that would require moving the boulders further up gradient to create a larger planting area.
Right, right.
Okay.
Anyone have anything else?
So Larry, what does the commission think of Mary's suggestion about issuing an enforcement order against the owner of the adjacent property?
Well, since we see a violation on the owner's property, it sounds like I would suggest the commission should seriously consider whether we want to ask our staff to issue an enforcement order. Anyone?
I think that's a logical way to get their attention. Obviously, the issue will be presented to them and resolved all in one fell swoop. So, it shouldn't create any hard feelings, I would think. It's just eliminating, as Mary said, the legality of trespassing at this point.
Right. Indra or Kent or Gail, you okay with that?
Yeah, I
guess,
agree. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I'm sorry. Did you even know if is the owner, someone who can respond? Are they, in a nursing home or something like that? Or I don't know.
They have a mailing address in Arlington, and it's not a nursing home, it's a single family home. But I don't know if they're older. They've owned the property for a really long time. I think
you could try that. If they haven't responded yet, they may not respond to that either. If there's a reason why they're, not responding, other than,
it just would be good to get their permission
Sure. No,
to
I agree.
let that happen.
Yep.
Okay, is there anything else?
Are you going to take a vote on that, the enforcement order?
Sure, why not? Can I have a motion to issue an enforcement order to the owner of 128 Lexington Street to notify them that there is a violation and that corrective action needs to be done?
So move, Gail.
Second?
Just have one question. Is that the correct number? Is it, okay, yeah, never mind. Yes, I second that.
All right. Gail, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes by a vote of 4-0-0. The commission has authorized an enforcement order for the property at 128 Lexington Street. All right, so Mary, would you like to continue to October 28th?
I would, with the understanding that I might ask for more time because we have a lot of players to coordinate here. But yes, let's continue to October 28th. And if it looks like I need more time to deal with Meridian or with the Crusoes, I will let you know and we'll go out 2 weeks further. I also have 2 grandchildren expected that week. So
I get it.
yeah,
Things could happen.
that's right. That's right.
All right. Are these your first 2?
No, but they're going to be my 4th and 5th grandsons, all boys. I don't know whoever thought I was a grandmother for boys, but
Good luck with that.
I know. It's exciting.
Yes, it is. All right, could I have a motion to continue the hearing for 130 Lexington Street under Burlington Bylaw Article 14 in the State Wetlands Protection Act to the commission's meeting of October 28th?
So moved, Gail.
Second, Indra.
Okay, Gail, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Chair votes yes, by a vote of 400, the meeting, this hearing is continued until October 28th.
Awesome. And I'll be in touch, John.
Okay, thanks, Mary.
Okay, thanks so much. Have a good evening now.
All
You too.
right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. All right. Next on the agenda is we have planning board comments. Do we have anything to say to the planning board regarding 207 Cambridge?
I don't know. I think they've already reviewed this. They may still have a hearing on it, but they've been dealing with this site for quite a while before this was even filed with us. It's up to you.
I'm not sure that the issues that we covered are particularly their domain necessarily, although they do handle stormwater. Okay, unless the commission feels we should say something to the planning board, I'll go on to the next item. Subcommittee and staff reports, anything?
I do have some comments about the town meeting that related to conservation.
Please do.
There were a couple of items that came up that I spoke up on behalf of conservation. One was the Rounder Way life science development possibility that's going on. There was much discussion of the swamps in the area. They kept referring to them as swamps. And they were concerned about that in the development. And I assured them that the Concom would be active in making sure that there was no adverse effect on the wetland resource areas. Our butters were concerned about how the water would flow during this construction, and I informed them that part of our responsibility on the commission is to require improvements to any stormwater handling. Another topic was the Francis Wyman pump station and force main replacement. And I made a point of reviewing that we had approved the NOI and that it was, and pointed out why it would be benefiting the surrounding resource areas by removing the old pipe and any possibility of future leaks. The erosion sedimentation control bylaw was renumbered as necessary without any comments. And then there was a discussion about rezoning some of the Wall Street lots to the new innovative zoning rather than industrial high-rise or whatever the term is, to eliminate the word high-rise in any of our zoning, since that strikes fear in the heart of people that hear it. And innovative is a sexier, new, better way to describe it. But one of the things that I pointed out in that the zoning change is that the innovative zoning would now allow structured parking. So, and I pointed out to encourage this to counter the heat islands and the effect on climate change that such things might have. So those were the points that conservation got involved in town meeting.
All right, thank you, Bill. Good thing you were there. Okay. Anything else on the subcommittee and staff reports? We have two meetings, one October 28th. The next one is one meeting in November, November 15th.
And that is a Monday, correct?
Correct.
A Monday, okay.
Yeah, it's a different day of the week. Just pointing that out so people remember.
Right. Other business, anything else?
Yeah, I have a couple things. So Eileen and I and some of the other department heads have been kicking around ideas about amending the stormwater bylaw once again. Now that we've done it, we've gone through the whole process and it was so much fun. We're thinking about opening up it again. But we're thinking of tightening the thresholds, lowering thresholds of disturbance and having even a lower threshold for adding impervious surfaces. So Eileen's been looking at a lot of other towns' bylaws, and we're just starting to kick off the process of talking to the other departments. So if any of you want to be involved in that, speak up.
When you say lowering the threshold for disturbance, you mean less than 10,000 square feet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. A lot of towns are down below 5,000. So There's just a lot of stuff that falls through the cracks that really we could capture.
Yeah, yeah.
Eileen?
We're missing additions, and if so, or if somebody builds an addition with a big garage and then they double their driveway, these are all falling under our threshold, and we're not really able to capture those. So that these are things we'd like to be able to address. Because we're getting an incremental creep in impervious.
Yeah, the
I
projects
agree.
frequently creep. I mean, a builder comes in and he says, okay, I've been hired to build an addition. And then it turns out the owner wants the lawn, the landscaping done, and that wasn't, that wasn't originally proposed. And so it's just sort of, it's mission creep,
Yeah, yeah. Sounds good.
Also, oh, go ahead.
We've had projects that have been, I can think of a few that have turned into quite a mess that were under the threshold for a permit.
Right.
And, it may not be 20,000 square feet for a hearing, but they have, at 15,000 square feet, it's been quite a mess. So I'm wondering, are you thinking that we should reduce the threshold for when a formal permit is required?
We haven't gotten that far. We were just thinking on the bottom end of what to include for a permit.
Yeah. All right.
I think the upper end should be considered as well, because, you have 20,000 square foot lots, so somebody could do the entire lot and not really require a formal permit when there is some major changes being made in
Yeah.
grading, and water flow and everything else, so.
Right. And we're in addition to lowering thresholds, we're actually thinking of having requirements for like civil engineers for all projects, basically. So the drainage system is designed by a professional, even if it's just an addition, so that we're just running into a lot of issues with neighbors complaining about new projects next to them and whatnot. And without a civil engineer designing it, who knows if it's being done right,
Right. We had one recently where the owner
Yeah.
was doing his own drainage.
Yep.
Okay.
I have one other. So I need a ratification of an emergency certification that I just issued this evening for Rohannes Park. There were beavers there. The beavers have now officially been removed, but there's a beaver dam that's flooding the soccer fields and also the backyards on Susan Avenue. And the removal is actually going to be done by the Eastern Middlesex Mosquito Control, who the Board of Health has hired to do the work.
All right. Could I have a motion from the commission to do an emergency certification for, what's the location? Rohannes Park?
Rohannes Park.
Rohannes Park, to remove a beaver dam? Is that what it is?
Correct.
At that location. Is there a motion so moved?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Indra.
Gail, how do you vote?
You're muted, Gail.
Yes.
Okay, Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Okay, and the chair votes yes by a vote of 4-0-0. An emergency cert for Rohannes Park is approved.
So I was expecting another request, but they didn't get it to me today. They're also trapping beavers, unfortunately, on Sandy Brook down near Hilltop Drive and Sandy Brook Road. And I think that they may be done there, so they'll be looking for an emergency cert, but I'll have that on the next agenda.
All right. The way it works is you approve it if it needs to be approved. Is that what you do, or do you wait for us to approve it, John?
No, I issue it and then ask for ratification at the following meeting.
I see. Can they proceed with work before ratification?
Yes, it's an
Okay.
emergency, right?
Right, that's what I thought. Thank you.
So
All
that
right.
dam could already be gone.
No, I just emailed it to them like right before the meeting, so no.
Yeah, but I mean, it could be the one we ratified for Rohannes. It could already have been removed before we ratified.
Except that I just signed it like a couple hours ago, so that there's no.
This is hypothetical. It could have been, right?
Yes,
Yeah, okay, okay,
hypothetically,
so I'm
yes.
asking. The whole thing could be done before we even get a chance to ratify. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I have a question for the commission. Is my audio any better?
Yes.
Yes, the wind has stopped blowing.
Yes.
Apparently, I have a whole bunch of wires crisscrossing here from different computers and a microphone wire and a power cord wire. And I have them all interchanged and I took some pains to uncrisscross them. And I think that was causing the problem.
Yeah, you were getting crossover.
We hear you now, crystal clear.
Really.
Thought
Oh,
you were
look
on your yacht on the open seas there, Larry.
Yeah, crystal clear. How lucky for you guys. Okay. All right. Is there anything else from you folks tonight?
No.
All right. Could I have a motion to adjourn this meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission?
So moved, Bill.
Second?
Second, Gail.
All right, Gail, how do you vote?
Yes.
Indra?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
The chair votes yes by a vote of 4-0-0. The October 14th meeting of the Burlington Conservation Commission is adjourned. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good
You
night.
have a good night.
Good night, everybody.
Made it before